Under the leadership of that hardy woodsman, Daniel Boone, a large party set out for the new land, Kentucky.
Abraham Lincoln was born right here.
The world comes to be pretty like me.
I'm Colonel Harold Sanders, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Have I told you you people are crazy?
This is Old Kentucky Tales, the only podcast that solemnly swears that none of us have ever baked a scrag. At least I think that's true. I'm speaking for a lot of people here in front of a live studio audience. So have any of you ever baked a scrag? Yeah, baked a scrag. Okay, no one has baked a scrag, so our opening statement is 100% verified as correct and truthful. I am your host, Brent Taylor. Jason Donner sends his regards. He had a family obligation today. He was not able to join us. And so our main event today is 1839's Kentucky Housewife. So this is a pretty old book.
I have that.
Oh, yeah. So it's a reprint, this particular version. Well, so it'll all be brand new. That's great. So these are some really old recipes. We have done a previous episode. I believe it was actually episode 1. And now we're way up here at 108. But episode number 1 was some recipes from just around the turn of the 20th century. So these are going to be about half a century older than those. And so the farther back you go, the more unusual tonight's dinner becomes. And that's kind of the point of the whole thing. And along the way, don't forget to support the fake history sponsors who support Old Kentucky Tales. The products are real, only the sponsorship is fake. Today's episode is brought to you by Sugar Information Incorporated from the mid-20th century. Why good cooks use sugar to season as well as sweeten. Your tongue, sensitive as it is, can only taste a few things. Why is it then that we can enjoy so many different flavors? You can thank your nose. It reports the hidden aromas in food that help you recognize flavor subtleties. Sugar helps release these aromas, delivers the real flavor message. Out there on the football field, now he'll be a regular Tiger. Within 3 minutes, the sugar in a halftime snack starts delivering energy. Maybe you're not a halfback, but you need Sugar's quick energy. No other food helps you come back so fast. Also, if you're dieting out there, sugar helps you keep from overeating. Anyone with a good appetite knows how hard it is to stick to a diet. Sugar can help. No other food satisfies appetite so fast with so few calories. That's why an appetizer containing sugar helps you eat less during the meal. I bet you didn't know that. Only 18 calories per level teaspoonful. So you will get some bang for your calorie buck with sugar. Once again, brought to you by Sugar Information Incorporated, a nonprofit organization in New York, New York. All right, so that's, did you guys realize that sugar can help you diet? No, I didn't think so either. I never really thought that sugar could help you diet. I was sort of under the opposite impression myself, but there you go. Sugar can help you diet. All right, so now the moment we've all been waiting for, the main event.
Round 1.
The main event, which is 1839's Kentucky Housewife. This is brought to you by the author, Mrs. Lattice Bryan, and it claims to contain 1,300 full recipes. Recipes spelled sort of like receipts, so that's kind of an odd spelling from the 19th century. And the book also claims to be stereotyped by Shepard and Stearns in Cincinnati. So it's kind of an interesting name for publishing back in the 1830s. So to start us off, we have some nice little illustrations that are showing you the cuts of meat as you begin to enter the world of the Kentucky Housewife. So we've got here a lot of cuts of beef and then veal. And so we've got a few different things here to look for. Some terms that we are familiar with, like brisket, is number 13, right about there on the cow. And some legs and ribs and some of these things that we might be pretty familiar with. We might be less familiar with the thin mouse piece, number 7 on your cow, which is right back here. So that is the thin mouse piece. A little unusual name for that. So on the veal here, we've got some similar kinds of things. And then we've also got some special cuts here of venison. There are fewer cuts of venison compared to beef. There's the scrag right there, number 5 on the deer. It's kind of this thick part of the neck, and that would be the scrag. We've also got some mutton cuts, and he's got a scrag too, and some pork cuts, which you'd probably be familiar with there, the leg, the loin, spare rib. These are things we've heard of. The middling is number 6 on your pig. Right there, that's the belly region. So I've never really heard that term before, the middling. You guys ever heard the middling? No? No one's ever heard the middling. All right. So those are those cuts. And then it's time for some recipes. Recipe number 1, squirrel soup. You gotta expect a little wild game in 1839. They are not averse to it at all. This will also be found in a special Foods for the Sick section in the book, so it actually appears twice in there, but this is the original version. Take 2 fat young squirrels, skin and clean them nicely, cut them into small pieces, rinse and season them with salt and pepper, boil them till nearly done. Beat an egg very light, stir into half a pint of sweet milk, add a little salt and enough flour to make a stiff batter, and drop it by small spoonfuls into the soup. Is that hush puppies?
No, it's dumplings.
Okay, dumplings. All right, cool. I knew it was something delicious, but I couldn't tell exactly. So I'm glad that we've got some cooking experts there in the room. All right, boil them with the squirrels till they are all done. Then stir in a small lump of butter rolled in flour, a little grated nutmeg. That's an unusual squirrel seasoning, I thought. Lemon and mace, a handful of chopped parsley, and half a pint of sweet cream. Stir it till it comes to a boil and serve it up with some of the nicest pieces of the squirrels. Not the bad pieces, but the good pieces. Soup may be made in this manner of small chickens, pigeons, partridges, and pheasants. So it's a very versatile recipe. Next up for us is mock turtle or calf's head soup. So this is, you really want to serve turtle soup, but you just can't find a turtle somewhere. So now you're going to fake it until you make the soup. To have this soup in perfection, you must begin at least 6 hours before you will want the soup. So a lot of prep time. Be sure to plan accordingly. Having neatly cleaned a large head and 2 feet, split them, put them into a pot with a small piece of pork or ham, a good quantity of water, and enough salt and pepper to season them well. Boil them slowly and steadily till nearly done, removing the scum as it rises. Can't leave the scum in. Then put in 4 minced onions, 4 sliced potatoes, a handful of thyme, parsley, and sweet basil. Boil all together till done and strain the liquid into a soup pan. Mince a part of the meat from the head and feet and put it into the soup with a dozen force meatballs. So force meatballs is a separate recipe you will find in this book. It has about 3 different kinds of meat in there, including oyster. So I suppose it's kind of a moist meatball. Not really my speed, but they say that this is good with it. About the size of a nutmeg, made in the usual manner, again explained later, and fried in butter. Pound to a paste half a teacupful of boiled rice, the yolks of 8 hard-boiled eggs, a little grated nutmeg, mace, and lemon peel. Make into 1½ dozen balls of equal size. Roll them in a yolk of egg and flour, and drop them also into the soup. Just let it come to a boil, then add half a pint of Madeira wine and the juice of 1 lemon, a teaspoonful of curry powder, and serve it up with dry toasts or crackers. This soup must be rich and highly seasoned to represent what is intended. So, if you really want it to taste like a turtle, or fake being a turtle, you have to do it in such a way. Therefore, do not put your vegetables and other seasonings till the meat gets nearly done, as by long boiling they will lose much of their flavor and become almost insipid. So that is your fake turtle soup, mock turtle. Calf said.
Did you find any information how and there was so many spices in the 1830s? There's a lot of those you mentioned I wouldn't have thought they had or had access to.
Oh yeah, those kinds of things are sort of surprising. So global trade has really been a thing since the early 1500s at some point. That's what we call the Columbian Exchange in the history biz. And so all these things are going back and forth across the ocean. And yeah, really their spice shop was pretty full. I got to agree with that. Also, I found it kind of surprising that they mention oysters several times. And you think, well, yeah, surely they're not trading from the coast to inland, and well, maybe they are. Because as the Kentucky housewife, this is not like another coastal thing where you have easy access to all that. And you will see a lot of advertisements for restaurants. And they'll say, oh, we just got a shipment of oysters. And so apparently it's like a limited time thing, like the McRib. And so they'll come in and apparently with them for a little while, and then they might go back out again. So yeah, I had the same impression as you that they are pretty stocked for 1839. Of course, Kentucky became a state in 1792, and so that gives you a full generation to kind of build up from that little milestone. So yeah, I do find it surprising as well, though. It's probably more than you would expect. You might think salt, pepper, and they started off with that, but then they're adding in kind of the more exotic things too. That was a really awesome question. I like that. And do feel free anytime that one of these things strikes your fancy to jump in and we'll talk about it.
But the spice trail had been in effect far longer than Marco Polo and way back before him, and they were trading all over that part of the world. And most of these people originally came from England or France or
the East Coast.
Yeah.
So they'll have a little history of it. Right. And so the problem with spices that far back, though, is that they were unbelievably expensive.
Oh, I'm sure.
So there's a story I like to tell. There was a historian named the Venerable Beda. And this guy left sugar to somebody in a will because at that time it was that valuable. It's like, I couldn't possibly eat this because then I won't have it anymore. So the longer you go, of course, the more exchange there is and the more common things might become. Yeah, but you're right. The trade goes way, way back, Silk Road stuff. That's supposed to be how the apple spread throughout the world. It was along the Silk Road Trail, and then somebody had one, and then apples are kind of portable, and then pretty soon there's apples everywhere. Yeah, it's kind of a fun story, too. So next up is boiled tripe. Are you guys familiar with tripe?
I know what it is, but I've never had it.
Okay. It's so it's the intestines. So little it's kind of in the we're not going to waste anything category. So here's the boiled tripe recipe. Take from the beef as soon as it is killed, empty it immediately of its contents. Don't ask about that. Scrape and wash it clean and let it lie in fresh water till the next day. Then scrape it again. Wash it clean, soak it for 24 hours in weak brine. The next day, scrape it and soak it again for 24 hours in water with a handful of salt. By this time, if properly managed, it will be very white and nice. So if it's any color but white, repeat the steps. Yeah, that's what that's sort of suggesting to me. Cut it into several pieces and boil it in a good quantity of water till nearly done, removing every particle of scum and keeping the pot closely covered. It will take several hours to boil it tender, then put into a stew pan with some of the liquor in which it was boiled and sweet milk, mixed in equal proportions. Add a good lump of butter rolled in flour, some black pepper, several minced onions, Stew them gently till all are well done. Stir in a glass of sweet cream and serve them together, putting the onions under the tripe and pouring on the gravy. So it's kind of layered. A little rough. I don't know. Are any of you adventurous eaters? Like you think, okay, give me the tripe. I'll try it. No, not even that adventurous. Okay. Yeah, me either. All of these things really kind of give me the creeps. That's why I'm interested in them, I think. So here's our next one, which is to boil a smoked tongue. Now, I bet some of you have had tongue. Is that correct? All right, yeah, so I see one hand, a couple of head nods. Some people are, no, I'm not eating the tongue. All right, I'm kind of in the not eating the tongue category myself. I have never done that. So here's how you do it. Select a large, thick tongue, as thin ones are not good when dried. See, those are the inside baseball tips that you need out of this book, because you might pick the wrong tongue. Wash and scrape it well. Put it into a small kettle of lukewarm water. Could you imagine you just get this tongue sitting here on the shelf? And sit it till next day. Then put it into a kettle of cold water and boil it gently till tender throughout, which will take several hours. It takes a lot of time for these old recipes. A lot of time and a lot of alcohol. I don't know if you noticed that as a theme already.
Do you drink the alcohol or put it?
We cook with it, so yeah, it's boring, yeah.
Do both, Tom.
Well, for 6 hours, you've got to do something to entertain yourself while the tongue's there, right? Yeah.
I've seen tongue and brain in the grocery stores before.
Yeah, this one was not quite as exotic to me. I've at least heard of people messing with it.
Or you can go to Evansville next week and you can get both.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Next week, the West Side Nut Club, whatever.
Does one of them have tongue?
Oh, so down at the festival,
Tongue
they're.
and brain.
I've seen the brain sandwich. Yeah, I remember seeing brain sandwich up there. Yeah, brains and eggs. I've heard of that one as well.
Definitely.
My grandparents like that. My parents like that.
Okay, and then it skipped a generation with you, and then your children really love it, probably. Yeah, brains and eggs. So afterward, peel it smoothly. I didn't know you had to peel the tongue, but apparently you do. Peel it smoothly, trimming off the homely parts of the roots, and put into a dish of suitable size. Put on a little melted butter and pepper, and garnish with bunches of parsley. So that'll dress up the tongue there at the end.
Why did they boil so much? Of course, the tongue I ate was roasted in an oven like a roast.
Yeah, there are various things here too where so some of the things are baked, some are fried, a lot are boiled. So yeah.
Well, what amazes me is they put milk in so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had cow.
Yeah, it's kind of like
But I wouldn't have, some of the things that they're adding milk to.
I wouldn't have.
yeah, the milk does seem, and it's pretty common in these recipes.
Yeah.
You've probably seen it maybe twice already or something like that. Yeah, it's that does seem a little bit unusual. It's not like a water base. It's more than that. Other kinds of liquids. All right, next up, we've got some special directions on how to stew a calf's head. So having cleaned the head neatly, calf. Yeah, we got to enunciate, right? So not the cat, but the calf. Calf. Yeah, that's right. We're south of the Ohio, so we don't have to worry about that stuff, right? So having cleaned the head neatly, take out the brains and tongue. This is some hands-on cooking, by the way. It's not coming in a little prepackaged shrink wrap with the meat already cut, right? Take out the brains and tongue, season the head with salt, and boil it till nearly done. Then cut the meat from the bones in tolerably small pieces. Put them in a pan with a quart of rich gravy, drawn from coarse pieces of meat. Add a large lump of butter rolled in flour, some force meatballs, there's that again, pepper and nutmeg. Stew them till very tender, and just before you take it from the fire, you haven't even been imagining it that way, have you? Oh, you have? You were imagining the fireplace? Yeah, for some reason, when I hear all these, I'm still thinking about the stove. I mean, I know better, but just as a recipe, when you imagine cooking them, it's got the stove in it and not a fire. Stir in a glass of Madeira and the juice of a lemon. In the meantime, pick and wash the brains clean, parboil them, and pound them fine. With an equal proportion of boiled eggs. There it is, brains and eggs, you guys called it. Season it with salt, pepper, sage, and nutmeg. Make it into small cakes. Put them over some beaten yolk of egg, flour it, and fry them till nice and brown. Lay them round the stew when served. And then also there's the one after that is baking. So there are a few different kinds that they'll do. Oh, this one was interesting. This recipe is called a calf's rennet. Oh, I see some heads nod. I was not familiar with this until I prepped for it. So for the head nodding, what's going on here? If you're familiar with this. So really just one head was nodding. Okay. Rennet. R-E-N-N-E-T. Yeah. A calf that has been fed entirely on milk is said to have much more gastric juice in its stomach than when fed on anything else. Take the rennet from the calf as soon as it is killed, empty it of its contents, and hang it in a cool, dry place for 4 or 5 days. So is reading comprehension getting us there yet?
Is the rennet the stomach?
It's that stuff in there that's going to be digesting. And apparently this is some sort of an ingredient in cheese making. And so this is the kind of thing that we're harvesting here.
But doesn't a cow have 5 stomachs?
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Like, how do you know which? I guess maybe you do all 5. I don't know. It didn't say. It didn't say. That's interesting. Then turn it inside out. Slip off the curd with your hand. Fill the rennet with salt, having mixed it with a very little saltpeter, and lay it in a stone pot. Unusual ingredients. Sprinkle it over a teaspoon of vinegar and a handful of salt. Cover it and set it in a cool, dry place for several weeks. A lot of prep time on this one. Several weeks. Then hang it up, dry it thoroughly, and it will keep good a year or 2. So you get your time back on the back end, right? It'll keep. When you wish to make use of it, cut a piece the size you wish, put it in a cup, pour on a few spoonfuls of wine or brandy, cover it well with lukewarm water, and the next day liquid will be fit for use. It is an excellent plan to keep rennet ready prepared. Being always in readiness, it will be found a great convenience.
Or what?
I guess in the cheese making process. So this is the thing about authors, right? Like, apparently there's some assumptions that you know exactly what to do with this after you've got it prepared. So pretty cool.
They did dehydration.
Yeah, that's what that was, right?
They reconstitute. So, yuck.
Yeah, a little wild there. Okay. Boiled eels. I don't know if you know this one or not, but eels were found at the first Thanksgiving. So this is going to be a time-honored tradition. Eels have a very strong oily taste and are not admired by many people. I'd say that's probably accurate. The best way to cook them is to boil them. As soon as they are killed, dip them into boiling water, loosen the skin about the head with a sharp knife, draw it off without tearing it. That sounds tricky. Take off the hands, clean and rinse them in well and cold water. Fill the bodies with grated ham that is highly seasoned with salt and pepper. So this is like when you don't like the green bean flavor and you cook it with the other meat. Rub them over the salt, lard, and flour. Put them into a kettle with a small quantity of water and boil them gently till they are done. Serve them without breaking. Squeeze on them the juice of a lemon. Pour over a good quantity of melted butter, chopped parsley and pepper, and accompany them at table with mustard, vinegar, and a dish of mashed potatoes. That's the stuff that's going to go well with the eel. Dip it a little in the mustard, and then you get the mashed potatoes there on the side.
Kill the taste.
Mustard would kill the taste, wouldn't it?
So mustard would have been homemade, right?
Yeah, most likely. So they do have some grocery stores and things in the 1800s, but it's...
Not out in the country.
Well, yeah. Now, you're far enough out. You may not at all. That's true. Those would be in the towns. Speaking of condiments, when we say ketchup, you're probably thinking about one thing, which is tomato ketchup, and it comes from the store, and there it is. And it comes in maybe two or three varieties, 2 or 3 brands that make it. Not a lot of variance in the flavor. This is a little different. We've got a lot of different kinds of ketchup in this particular book. So let's start with rum ketchup. Chop a handful of thyme, parsley, sweet basil, the peel of 2 fresh oranges, 1 lemon, a half an ounce of mace, half an ounce of black pepper, a 1/4 ounce of cayenne pepper, and a 1/4 ounce of cloves. Put them all in a pan with a quart of good vinegar, cover it, boil it a few minutes till the flavor of the spices is extracted. Then strain it, throw in a handful of salt and set it by till it gets cold, after which stir in half a pint of Madeira wine and half a pint of rum. Put it up in small bottles, filling them quite full, securing the corks with leather. This, like other ketchups, is designed to flavor sauces and gravies. They are sometimes sent to the table and sometimes sent in the small bottles in which they are put up. I can't even imagine tasting that. It just doesn't seem like anything I would want. What about you? Yeah.
I made tomato ketchup this summer with a friend of mine.
Oh, how did tomato ketchup making go?
It went great, but it was a lot of work. I probably had 35 pounds of tomatoes, and I maybe ended up with 10 or 12 pints.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of like when you're a little kid and you decide that you're going to make real lemonade, and you're squeezing the thing, you've got this much at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it had mace and brown sugar and vinegar and cloves and a lot of those that you mentioned.
Oh, so very similar. It's kind of passed down into that recipe, sounds like.
But it tasted like nothing like Heinz tomato ketchup or anything.
Okay.
It's quite spicy. I thought of it more as a tomato relish.
Okay.
To eat with.
Was it chunky?
It was chunky. No,
okay.
It was chunky.
Almost a chutney.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a tomato chutney sort of deal? Yeah.
But it's delicious.
Okay.
If I say so myself.
Well, that's interesting.
I just did what
I've never tried that one. The closest I've gotten on this is canning tomatoes, and it was like an all-day operation, kind of like what you were talking about. Yeah.
They made specific pieces of silver for mustard.
Oh.
It's a tiny little label.
Okay, I'd never really heard that about mustard before. That's interesting also. How about anchovy ketchup? Mix together a quart of white wine and a quart of red wine. So both kinds. A pint of anchovy liquor. I wonder where you're going to find that. A pint of vinegar. Having boned 3 dozen anchovies, chop them small, mix with 2 lemons, cut in slices, 1 dozen, let's see here. Half an ounce of black pepper, a 1/4 ounce of mace, 2 powdered nutmegs. Put the mixture in a saucepan with liquid, cover it, boil it gently till reduced to 1/2 the original, then strain it. When perfectly cold, put it in small bottles for use, securing the corks with leather. 2 spoonfuls of this preparation will give an agreeable flavor to a pint sauce or gravy, and if made as directed, will keep good a year or more.
Is that the reason that you put it under the pot, the cork won't pop out because of the action of the chemical mixes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but it sounds plausible to me. Because they get the cork in there, and then but then they're kind of also placing it with the leather too. So I'm not sure exactly what that process looks like. How about walnut ketchup? The walnuts should be gathered while very young and tender, so that you may pierce them through a needle. Put them into a stone jar, pour enough boiling water on them that it is strongly impregnated with salt. To cover them well, tie a cloth over them, set them by for 4 days, then take them from the liquor, mash them fine, put them into a jar, pour over enough good vinegar to cover them entirely, close the jar, let them stand for 2 days. Have you noticed a pattern here? This step, then 2 days, this step, 2 days. Stirring them well once a day, after which put them with the vinegar into a linen bag, press through all the juice you can, mix it with the other liquor, and to each quart add 1 ounce of black pepper, 1 ounce of pounded ginger, half an ounce of allspice, half an ounce of mace, and 1/4 ounce of cloves. Boil it in a closely covered vessel for 20 minutes, skimming it well, and when cold, bottle it for use. That's another one. I don't even want to know what that tastes like, actually. I think I'll just pass on that one entirely.
They must have made that in the wintertime. It had to be cold.
Oh, yeah. They a lot of these recipes talk about that this is seasonal and for this reason and that kind of thing. That's exactly right. Oh, I thought you might find this pretty nice as well. Chicken jelly. So that's different. That's different. Take a grown fowl, clean it nicely, cut it up, pound it in a mortar, breaking all the bones. Sprinkle on a little salt, boil it in a covered vessel till done very tender, raising the lid and removing every particle of scum as it rises. Once again, got to get the scum out of there. Then strain the liquid through a cloth, and if the system of the patient is in a relaxed state, very odd wording there, season the jelly with loaf sugar, wine, nutmeg, and lemon juice. But if there is a fever, so this is in the thing for people who are sick, yeah. If there is a fever and the bowels constipated, omit the wine and season it with a little salt and pepper. So you've got, depending on the symptoms, you might prepare the chicken jelly in 2 different ways.
Maybe that's a concentrated form of chicken soup.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
I think of aspic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of an interesting one there. All right, well, we probably better pay some bills around here. So this portion of the program is brought to you by squirrel milk. One trial of squirrel milk will demonstrate its superior qualities for all home purposes, for sale at all good grocers. Now, this is actually a callback to something from the last time we did our live show here. Do you remember the squirrel salmon? This is that same brand, only they're selling you squirrel milk. And it's not actually squirrel milk, that's just the brand name, right? It's like Domino's Pizza, it has nothing to do with Domino's, it's just, that's the brand name. And so this is squirrel brand, or like Eagle brand milk. This is squirrel brand milk. All right, so.
Making them sit still for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Long enough for you to milk the squirrel? With a tiny little bucket and a scoop?
Those tweezers.
Yeah.
Yes, the squirrel brains.
Yeah, hey, I think we'll just, we got squirrels on our minds now after some of those recipes, right? And so that it kind of leads you down an imaginary path to something that it's not. But we have now turned to the final page of this chapter, but never fear, Old Kentucky Tales never fails to return. You can download even more episodes on Apple Podcasts or the NPR One app. If you want to really go back and binge listen, all of the episodes are on WKMS.org. And so that's the biggest repository of them. Sometimes on these other platforms, they'll drop off and only the newest ones are on there and that kind of thing. But the full collection, all 108, by the time we get this one edited, would be right there on WKMS.org. Special thanks to WKMS, Dan and the TV crew, West Kentucky Community and Technical College, also the lovely studio audience right here in Madisonville, Kentucky, and the rest is history.